Now, this is case number 475 on the calendar in the matter of Martin versus Hall. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Martin, it is your claim that the defendants, this gentleman in particular, caused damage to your car in an accident, and the accident was his fault. Mr. Hall says that it was your fault, and you don't know why, anyway, that you're suing him because he wasn't driving. It was Miss Hall who was driving the car. So you must have not been watching carefully.
Apparently.
When did this incident happen?
September 17th.
Where were you?
I was in Maitland, Florida, turning into a gas station.
What happened, Mr. Martin?
I was turning into the gas station to buy gas, and I seen the Halls coming at a very high rate of speed through the parking lot, so I stopped.
Through the parking lot or through the gas station?
Into the parking lot of the gas station.
There's a chart over there that the Halls brought. Is the red car yours?
That's similar to what happened.
Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the north, turning in just like that shows, and I stopped, and he come crashing into me. He was driving probably about 45 miles an hour through that parking lot.
Okay. What kind of a car were you driving, sir?
Mazda 626.
And where was the car hit?
Right in the passenger side in the front. Knocked the bumper completely off.
Do you have a photograph?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see it, please?
Sure.
Is there damage to the hood?
The bumper was not completely off, and the hood and all the lights were knocked out in the grill.
All right, now what happened after the collision, sir?
After the collision, I started to call the police, and Mr. Hall came over and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Please don't call the police. I'll have someone take care of your car for you." But my car was not drivable. So I proceeded with calling the police, and then I observed Mr. Hall removing the license plate from the car.
From whose car?
From his car. So when
Yes.
the police got there, I told him that he had taken the license plate off of the car and put it in the trunk. He went and found it, and then they claimed that Mrs. Hall was driving, but that is definitely not the case. So the police officer ticketed him for removing the tag from the car because that tag did not belong to their car, and then ticketed her for driving with no insurance and for careless and reckless driving.
On their statement that it was Mrs. Hall who was driving.
That's what they're claiming, yes.
But it wasn't Mrs. Hall who was driving?
No, ma'am.
It was Mr. Hall?
Mr. Hall was driving. And on page 2 is the correct diagram. It's very similar to that, but it shows my car in a straight line, not in an angle like that.
Why did you take the plate off the car, Mr. Hall?
Because the plate did not belong to that car, Your Honor.
Why not?
Because we put it on the car to transport the car to a sale lot to put the car up for sale.
Well, where were you coming from, Mr. Hall?
We were going from our residence to the gas station. We were putting gas into the vehicle and then taking the vehicle up to put it up for sale.
Where were you taking it to put it up for sale?
Literally 2 blocks away from there, which is also just a couple blocks away from our residence, Your Honor.
Well, Mr. Hall, that doesn't make sense, sir. It doesn't make sense that why you would be putting gas in a car to take it to a place for 2 blocks.
Because it was on dead E, and we're afraid the vehicle would run out if someone was to test drive it, Your Honor.
Huh. When did you buy this car, sir?
A few weeks before that, Your Honor.
From whom?
I
You're
don't
looking
remember.
down at your feet, sir.
I don't remember the name, the gentleman's name, Your Honor.
Did you have a bill of sale for it?
No, ma'am, not on me.
Did you have it then?
No, ma'am, I did not.
You're pretty slippery, sir. Show me where your car was hit, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is your car?
The blue car, Your Honor, is our car,
Right. I got it.
and our car was hit
Now.
right where the highlighted spot is.
I see it. But you passed the gas tank, sir. Did you put gas in the car already?
Yes, ma'am.
Who put the gas in the car?
I believe I did. And I ran
I want
inside.
you to think. I want you to think. Who put the gas in the car?
I put in the gas, Your Honor.
Do you have a license to drive a car?
I do, yes, ma'am.
Did you then?
It was suspended, Your Honor.
So the answer is you did not have a license to drive then.
No, ma'am.
So you had no license, no registration, no insurance.
Yes, ma'am.
So there would have been a good reason for you to lie to the police and tell them that your wife was driving when you were driving. There would have been a reason and a motive because you would have been taken in
There would
if you
have
were
been.
driving on a suspended license. Isn't that correct, sir?
Yes, there's also a reason why I let her drive, because she is legal and not suspended.
Listen to me very carefully, sir. On your best day, you're not as smart as I am on my dumbest day.
I understand, Your Honor.
Good. My question to you was, there was a reason for you to lie to the police, to tell them that your wife was driving the car. There would have been a reason because you had already had your license suspended, right?
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
For not paying a seatbelt ticket, Your Honor.
Baloney. Now, where did you get the license plate from, sir, that you put on this car?
From one of our other vehicles.
How many other vehicles do you have?
2, Your Honor.
Who insures them?
My wife and I do.
With what company?
Progressive, I'm sorry.
And were the other 2 vehicles insured at the time of this accident with Progressive?
Yes, ma'am. May
Why
not have been,
was... What?
Excuse me, Your Honor. May not have been with Progressive. Progressive is our current one, I believe.
Well, why don't you tell me, sir, because it's very easy to check. Why don't you tell me, what was the other company that you were with back in September that insured your other 2 cars?
I don't recall the insurance company off the top of my name, Your Honor.
Off the top of your name, you don't...
Off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
You don't.
I'm nervous.
You're nervous because you're lying, sir. And you know that I'm going to be able to prove that. Before the police arrived, when you took the plate off the car and put it in the trunk, what did you hope to accomplish by that, sir?
Avoiding the ticket for attaching tag not assigned, Your Honor.
Now, don't you get a ticket for driving without tags, period?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what would be the difference in putting the tags in the trunk? You were going to get a ticket either way, either for driving with no tags or for driving with somebody else's tags on your car. So what difference did it make?
None. Except to try keep him from getting a ticket.
Well, don't you think people get tickets, sir, when they drive without license plates?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because that's why you supposedly took the license plate off one car and put it on another, so you wouldn't get a ticket,
Yes,
right?
Your Honor.
So that doesn't make sense to me. What did the police do with that license plate, sir?
They confiscated it, Your Honor.
And what did you do with the car from where the license plate had been removed?
The vehicle stayed right where it was, Your Honor.
And where is it to this day, sir?
In our driveway, Your Honor.
Without license plates?
It has been licensed and insured.
How did you get new license plates for it?
I just applied for a new plate, Your Honor.
You have to say what happened to the old plate, sir, if the car had been registered.
The vehicle hadn't been registered in our name prior to that, Your Honor.
Oh, so you had yet another car in your arsenal of cars that hadn't been registered in your name at the same date that you had this accident.
It's a vehicle that my sister allowed for us to drive because we didn't have a dependable vehicle at the time to drive, Your
Well,
Honor.
what about the third car that you had home, sir?
It wasn't.
Vehicle.
What?
It's a work vehicle.
What is a work vehicle? What does that mean?
It's a truck that we use to do landscaping and lawn maintenance that
So?
pulls a trailer. And it's decaled up, and insurance will not cover that if we are in an accident when we are not working.
Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to play. At the time of this accident on the 17th of September, 2004, who had a driver's license? Raise your hand. At the time of this accident on September 17th, 2004, who had a registered vehicle? On September 17th, 2004, who had a vehicle with appropriate tags on it? On September 17th, 2004, who was driving a car illegally? Good! Perfect. Okay. Shooting fish in a barrel. Can I see the estimate for your car, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What a bunch of hustlers. Not you, Mr. Martin.
I also have, Your Honor, a letter from the Halls stating that Mrs. Hall is guilty of this charge because we originally had an agreement for the Halls to pay me $400 a month beginning on November the 10th. And I know you're not going to believe this, but that didn't happen.
The only thing that I don't believe, sir, is that you believed them, that it was going to happen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
when we separated, we were not on talking terms. I needed money.
So you claimed the children as your deduction, even though he supported them?
Yes, ma'am.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rick Martin says fellow motorists Jennifer and Dennis Hall ran into him in a gas station parking lot. Rick claims Dennis was the driver, but after the accident, he switched places with his wife.
I have a net total of $2,966.35. Is that your estimate?
That's the estimate to fix the rest of the damage. I've already spent over $2,000.
You have those bills?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see them, please.
In those estimates, Your Honor, he's also trying to recoup, he's trying to double charge for repairs that he made once originally on his first repair bill.
And I have a listing of those if you'd like to see
And
it.
then he's trying to get the same repairs covered again on his estimate he had previously handed
Are you trying to do that, sir?
No, ma'am.
Did you have a deductible on the car?
I had only liability. I did not have full coverage on the car because it's paid for.
Okay, what did Allstate pay you?
Allstate only paid the tow bills. And I tried to relay that message to the halls, but they would not return any of my calls to find that out. So.
They wanted you to go away, like their license plates.
Yes.
Your Honor, when he originally showed up at our doorstep, he was demanding the $14.95 and repayment as well as new headlights.
So how much, just a second, so how much did you give him, Mr. Hall?
I gave him $0.
Well, now you're going to give him $4,834. Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The first thing I thought was they were going to drive away.
We like to buy and sell vehicles, and my husband was in the back seat.
I didn't ask him what he was doing. I took a photograph of the license plate. I could still tell you the number of that license plate right now.
When the gentleman hit us, my husband bounded out of the back seat, driver's side, and of course everybody thought he was getting out of the driver's seat.
I think that they're professional con men or deadbeats. I don't know.
When Jennifer asked to see some type of receipts or anything, he didn't provide any. Instead, he just went and got additional estimates and came up with this claim with that.
When I went to his house, he told me that I was not the first person that he ran into. That would be why he doesn't have a driver's license.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Conger versus Tates, step forward, please.
Plaintiffs Chuck and Karen Conger are suing the father of their grandchild, roofer Jeremiah Tates, for the cost to fix a '97 Ford Escort. The Congers claim Jeremiah's driving caused the transmission to blow.
Mrs. Conger, you have a daughter whose name is Brenda. Let me
Correct.
guess, Brenda.
Yes.
Your stepdaughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is a convoluted story of a car, a 1997 car, that was purchased for your daughter and the defendant, her then boyfriend and father of the two children. And the arrangement was that the two of them would pay you back for the car.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they had an off-again, on-again kind of arrangement. And at some point, Mr. Tates took the car with your daughter's permission because she got a new car.
Mm-hmm.
And he was driving the car and making the payments.
Yep.
April Franks is suing Angela and Jean Roberts for the return of money she paid for a female Yorkie poo. April says the couple sold her an emotionally damaged animal.
Bert, would you please take the Roberts' little girl outside, please?
Certainly.
Thank
Come
you.
with me.
Miss Franks, you purchased a dog, I assume this dog, from the defendants.
Yes.
You called them within 24 hours telling them that the dog had some problems. You wanted to return the dog. You ultimately did return the dog. You want your money back.
Yes.
The Roberts seem to believe that they had no responsibility with regard to the dog's condition that you found that was intolerable for you. And they said that they sold the dog, I assume, as is. This is what you get. Mrs. Roberts,
From a breeder in Tupelo.
a breeder.
Yes, ma'am.
When?
It was the end of November, 2007.
Do you have the date?
Not the exact date.
Was it after Thanksgiving?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's give it a date of the 28th of November. And I assume you bought the dog because you have one young child?
Yes, ma'am.
Did she go with you to the breeder?
No, ma'am.
You and your husband went?
Just my husband.
You went.
Yes, ma'am.
How many dogs did the breeder have for sale?
I have no idea how many he had to sell. I think 2. And this is the
How
one
many did you see?
I met him in a town in between where we lived, and he just brought Carly here.
So you didn't go to the breeder's house?
No, ma'am.
So you don't know where he got the dog from?
No, ma'am.
Did you find this person on the internet?
No, in an ad in the Trade Winds paper, a sales paper that we have in our area.
And he told you he had a dog?
Right.
And don't come to my house, I'll meet you halfway, or I'll meet you someplace.
Right.
And they gave you the dog. Did he tell you how old the dog was?
Yes, ma'am.
How old did he say?
At the time, she was 18 months,
And how much did you pay for this 18-month-old dog?
$200.
Did he say why he was selling an 18-month-old dog?
No, he didn't.
Did you discuss this with your wife before you went?
I spoke to the gentleman on the phone about her.
And what did the gentleman, I'm just curious, so even though I'm not taking this for the truth of it, I'd like to know what the gentleman told you about this dog.
He told me that he had 31 dogs, and he was trying to downsize on some of his dogs, and that she had already been bred once, and she had 6 puppies at the time, and he thought it was too many for her, and he was going to sell her and her sister. And he was originally trying to sell both of the dogs, her and her sister. I do not know anything about the other dog. And I told him that we were only interested in buying 1 dog instead of 2, and he said that he would split them up and sell her to us. And we did discuss whether to come to his house or not, but he decided that he...
He didn't want you at the house if it's in fact true that he had 31 dogs.
Probably.
Probably. Did he want cash or a check?
We just gave him cash. That's all we had.
Of course. So you gave him cash, and then you bring the dog home, and what happened, Miss Roberts?
She was a nervous dog. She shook for probably the first month we owned her.
1 month, she shook.
Yes, ma'am. And after about a month, when we were around her, she stopped shaking. But the only thing that she ever did the entire time we've ever had her is just sit in your lap. Even after sitting in your lap for a long period of time, she wouldn't indicate that she would want to get down and go eat. We'd have to take her back there to the room we keep her in at night, and she'd eat and take care of her business, and then after that she would scratch on the door, give a little bit of a whining whimper, and want to come out and sit back in your lap again. We tried to get her to play because we did buy her for my 9-year-old. She wanted a little dog to play with. And she's just not a playful dog. She's just a lap dog. So
she's probably from a puppy mill.
Well, when we took her to the vet, that's what he said. He said that either being in a kennel, he said either being in a kennel,
caged in a kennel, and probably came from a puppy mill.
Yes.
So what did you do?
Well, we held on to her for a little bit longer, hoping that maybe she would come out of her shell a little bit and play. And when we were convinced after about 3 months of owning her, she was not ever going to be the playful dog for our daughter
that we thought. So now she's almost 2 years old.
Yes, ma'am. And after that, we decided that what we would do was try to sell her so that we could take that money and buy a playful puppy for my child.
So you put an ad in the paper?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did the ad say?
It's right here.
What does it say?
Says, CKC Yorkie Poo female, small dog, approximately 1.5 years old, 5 to 6 pounds, good health, mostly house trained, 400. Call my husband and our phone number listed.
That's not the ad that I responded to.
Can I see the ad that you responded
to? Yes, it's right here.
to?
It's highlighted in pink. I was in Columbus only.
Shh. Yorkie Poo, CKC, I don't know what that means because they're not AKC registered because she's a mixed breed.
Yes, ma'am. It's Continental Kennel Club.
Approximately 1 year old.
Which she's approximately.
Shh. Do I look like I'm needing help from you?
No.
Approximately 1 year old, mostly housebroken, good health, small, 5 to 6 pounds, $400. Ask for Jean. Is that you?
That's my husband.
That's you. Well, that's the ad. Trade Winds Classified.
This one is the Trading Post. We did take one out in the Trading Post and the Trade Winds.
This is the one she responded to. So immediately your ad is wrong because the dog was not a year old.
I guess so.
And you were asking for this dog that is now older and you know has certain problems twice as much as what you paid for it.
Correct.
Okay. So you came to the house and?
I went to their house. Carly was sitting in a recliner. She didn't get up or anything when I walked in. She got her and she put on the ground on the floor and she walked around and I oohed and awed over for a few minutes. She was shaking and Angie told me it was because, you know, she didn't like strangers is what she said. And so, you know, I said, okay, you know, that could be possible. And I petted her and picked her up and I said that I wanted to get her. And so I left her house. I went to the ATM machine and I withdrew $400 and I went right back and I gave her the money when I got back. She had the CKC certification paper, her pamper pads because she's not housebroken or mostly at all, and a doggy soap.
Just 1 second. Are you telling me that you had this dog for 3 months and the dog wasn't housebroken?
She's puppy pad trained, which I consider mostly housebroken because she only goes on the puppy pads.
No. It's probably one of the reasons that you wanted out of the dog. Because the dog was a puppy mill dog. The dog was not used to being in a house and being let out. Yeah, sure it is. Okay, you returned the dog when?
That evening after I left, I went to Walmart and I bought food for her. I bought her a bed and some toys. And, you know, the night progressed and she just wasn't acting like I thought she would act. I'm not a professional. So the next morning, I said the best thing I'm going to do is take Carly to the vet. So I took her to the vet, which the office where Amy works, and the vet examined the dog, and I have an animal report here.
I'd like to see it, please.
As well as the invoice.
On February 26, 2008, I examined the above-listed animal because of a complaint of severe emotional issues. The animal would crouch down in the corner and urinate all over itself when touched. It was my opinion that the animal was experiencing fear, anxiety, and the owner would be better off returning the animal to the previous owner. Animals exhibiting such fear, anxiety have special needs that the average pet owner usually is unable to give.
The time we took the dog to the vet was after the fact that April returned her.
They just took the dog to the vet.
Shh. You mean you never took the dog to the vet when you got her?
She never urinated on herself or crouched down in
I'm
the
just
corner.
asking you why you never took the dog to the vet.
No, ma'am.
Have either of you ever had pets before?
We have quite a few.
Well, then you knew that this dog's behavior was most unusual.
I was told by several other people, we've never had a small dog like this
All
before.
right. We have to give her her money back. Stop nonsense. You try to unload the dog on somebody else for twice as much as what you paid for it. I mean, usually when a breeder wants to unload an 18-month-old or a 19-month-old dog, they usually give them away to try to find good homes. This guy found a sucker who was willing to pay $200 for it. That doesn't mean that you, when you have the dog, I mean, you're supposed to be reputable people. I don't know about this person who's running a puppy mill, but you're supposed to be reputable people. That means that you got stuck. I'm going to find somebody else to stick with this dog and charge him twice as much.
Right.
That's outrageous. You have the dog? Give her back the papers, please. You owe her $400. That's all.
David Yanas claims fellow clubgoer Travis Pexey vandalized his car with a crowbar. Travis claims David threatened to shoot him.
Mr. Yanis, it is your claim that the defendant, after a night of drinking, are you smiling for a reason?
Oh, no.
Good. Damaged your car, attacked your car. You want him to pay for the damage. Mr. Pexey says that you actually attacked him and ran him over with your car. He was just protecting himself. So why don't you tell me your version of the events? First, when did it happen?
It happened in Saddle Ranch on Saturday, the 13th of February. And what happened was when we were walking, after the club was closed at 2 o'clock, we were walking to the parking lot.
Who's we?
Me and my friend Scott.
So tell me what happened as you were leaving the club.
Okay, so when I was walking towards the car, Travis bumped into me. And when I said, like, you know...
Did you know him before?
No, I didn't know him. That was the first time I ever seen him. He bumped into me, and he just started, like, cussing at me, like, saying, you know, what the F, and this, what's your problem? And I was like, what? And, you know, I'm way bigger than Travis. I was like, man, get out of my face. So then he walked up to me even more aggressive towards me. So when he walked up towards me, I didn't want to hit him. So I grabbed him in a headlock, and I was holding him in a headlock, and then one of his friends were coming up to me. And I was like, you know, it was me by myself at the time because I didn't see my friends there. I was like, man, tell your friend to get back. So when I was holding him...
Are you thirsty already?
Sorry. When I was holding, I told his friend, get back. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't want to start anything with you guys, get back. So that's when Scott showed up, my witness right here. He showed up, and he's like, come on, man, let's get out of here. So I pushed Travis towards his friend, and that's when the other guy, Andy, came, and he's like, come on, let's go, it's not worth it. So I was like, all right, let's get out of here. So I sat in the back seat, Scott sat on the side next to me, and then Andy was driving. Andy was the driver. And we were parked, like, you know, with the front end facing out of the parking. So when we tried to get out this way, his friend stood in front of the car. So what Andy did is he came back and then he went that way to try to avoid him, to get away from him. But in the parking lot, you can only go down one way. You know how the on-ramp is at City Walk? So
Do I know? No, but I can sort of imagine you.
All right.
You're explaining it very well.
Okay, so we ended up going in a big circle to come out in the same downward on-ramp where he was still at because his car was like kind of by there. So he comes out and I guess that's when Scott saw him when he came out and he threw a crowbar at the car.
Just a second. Did you see him throw the crowbar?
No, I didn't see him.
Your last name, sir?
Lauby.
Mr. Lauby, you were sitting in the front passenger seat?
No, the back driver's seat.
Okay. Who was sitting in the front passenger seat?
David. I was sitting in the back, Your Honor.
Alone?
Yes. Andy was driving and David was shotgun in his car. Because I just jumped in the back
and
he got in the front.
I don't remember that really.
Okay. Tell me what you saw.
So when we were coming down the off-ramp, I looked, and out the corner of my eye, I see something being thrown. So I looked, and then I just ducked because the window was right there, and a crowbar hit the back quarter panel of the car. And then that's when we just took off, and then we ended up
Okay.
getting pulled over.
Perfect. Sit down.
Thank you.
What's next?
Okay, so now when we're leaving City Walk and we get down by the metro station, which is across the street from City Walk, we get pulled over by a sheriff. He pulls us over. He takes us out of the car one by one. He starts asking us questions like, do we have weapons or anything like that? And I was like, no, you can search me and my car's clean. You know, he searches everything. What he does, he puts us in 3 separate cop cars. Then he takes me out of the cop car and makes me stand next to my car. And that's when a security vehicle came, I guess, with Travis to identify me, to point me out. So the sheriffs go and they asked us to go back to the substation to write a statement.
And you went back in police cars to write a statement.
And they left my car there. So when we're in the police station, I'm writing my statement. He says, okay, I'm going to believe you. And he lets me go. And Scott was still being asked questions. So I got to leave before him. And I was so worried about my car that I went before anybody else to go get my car. When I'm going down the hill and someone is standing on top of my car, it's Travis. And I recognized him because I knew exactly what he looked like already, and I knew what he was wearing, and I knew what his car looked like. So when I start running towards my car, I see a better view, and he's standing on top of my car with a crowbar hitting the window, bashing the window in. And I go, hey, what are you doing? I start running toward the car. He jumps in the car, and while he's taking off, he says, that's what you get, mother F. And he takes off.
I knew what you meant even before you said it.
So, all right. So, and that's how I knew it was him. So what I did is I jumped right back in the car and I went straight back to the police station and I filed the police report.
Do you have pictures of your car, sir?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it.
These are all the pictures right here. That was taken by the insurance.
Did you have the car fixed?
No, all I could afford was to fix the windows. So I just fixed some of the windows.
All right, Mr. Pexey, let me hear your version of the events, sir. What time had you arrived at the club?
Approximately 1:15, 1:30.
And where had you been prior to 1:15?
Where I live in Santa Clarita.
I don't hear you.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Where I live in Santa Clarita.
You were at your house?
Well, I was picking up these
Listen to me. I have a question, and I don't want you to start thinking, machinating about the answer.
Okay.
You arrive at a club at 1:15 in the morning. My question is a simple one. Where had you been prior to 1:15 in the morning?
Picking up my significant other at the time.
Where had you been prior to picking up your significant other?
Getting ready to go out Saturday night.
At midnight?
At my house.
At midnight.
Yeah, it took the girls actually a really long time to decide where we were going to go.
Mr. Pexey.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe, sir, that you got to a club that was going to be closing, or you were going to leave in a half hour at 1:15, 1:30 in the morning when you were out in the parking lot at 2 o'clock. Do you understand what I'm saying, sir?
What?
The girls didn't take that long to get their hair done. Now, had you been at your house? Had you been at another club? Had you been out for dinner?
That's actually what I went there for, was to eat dinner.
And you ate dinner in a half hour?
Yeah, we were...
I'm asking you a question.
Yes.
You went to the club and you ate dinner
Yes, ma'am.
in a half hour.
Yes, ma'am. What? I didn't finish.
You didn't what? No,
Well,
I mean, you get to the club, you got to look at a menu.
The club closes...
You got to look at a menu. Then you have to order. Then somebody has to cook it. And all that took place in a half hour, and you were outside in the parking lot at 2 o'clock in the morning. I just want to understand what you're saying to me, sir. So, what did you have for dinner, Mr. Pexey?
Bacon cheeseburger, fries with a side of ranch, and a Grey Goose cranberry with the lime.
And
that
you
I
had
actually
that,
spilled
and
all
you
over
got
my
there
dinner.
at 1:15 in the morning. How many people were you with?
Me, my girlfriend at the time, and my friend Justin and his girlfriend at the time.
So 4 of you.
But I was the only one that was eating.
You mean your other 3 friends were just watching you eat?
No, they went there to drink.
Not you.
I actually don't drink alcohol that much.
Well, that much. I'm glad you mentioned that much, sir, because according to you, you had ordered a Grey Goose and cranberry juice. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I do have relatively good hearing. Not perfect, but relatively good
Yes,
hearing.
ma'am.
Go ahead, Mr. Pexey. You see where we're going, sir? It's not going to be easy. You're going to be glad you took that drink of water. Go ahead.
Well, so we got into Saddle Ranch, and I don't even know if this is relevant, but I don't like eating fast food, so I wanted to eat at a restaurant, a sit-down place, and there's not...
Maybe relevant to your mother, Mr. Pexey. It is irrelevant to me.
So that was one of the only places that was open that late to eat. So we went there to eat and grab a few drinks before heading home. Pretty much I ordered my food at the bar, at the back bar. That's why it didn't take that long, because it was at the bar. It wasn't like I sat down. Oh, sorry. I don't speak fast. I'm not a very...
Get used to it, sir. I have other things to do today.
Sorry.
This is not exactly the Scopes trial.
So, I spilled my drink actually all over my dinner on the way to the table, so I actually didn't really get to eat most of it because it was soaked in my drink. And as I was finishing, they escorted us out of...
Finishing what?
My meal. Well, what
I
was
thought you couldn't eat your meal because your drink spilled on it.
Well, I mean, I had drove all the way down there for food, so I just salvaged what I could, I guess.
I'm trying to salvage the rest of your case, sir. Could we move on, please?
So they kicked us out at 2, and we were walking to the car. It was raining a little bit, so I gave my sweater that I was wearing to one of the girls because they just had dresses on.
You mean they got all dressed up to go to a place for 45 minutes to watch you eat?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They're very high maintenance.
Go ahead. No, you're high maintenance.
And
They're
so,
not high maintenance. If 3 people are watching one person eat, and they have spent an evening getting ready, because according to you, it takes them a long time to get ready.
Yes, ma'am.
And the entire evening was spent watching you eat a soaked hamburger. They're not high maintenance, sir. You are.
Well, I know I am.
Now let's move on, Mr. Pexy.
So we walked back to the car, which was parked on the opposite side of Saddle Ranch. And my car was backed into the spot that we were parked in. It was in a parking garage. And everyone was getting into the car, and I was the driver because I was sober, because I don't drink.
He drank cranberry.
But I guess you could say I did consume alcohol. So I was getting into my car, with the door was open, and I was facing inward to put on the sweater because it was cold and raining. And
So you took it off the girlfriend?
yes, ma'am, after everyone had gotten into the car.
Move on!
And then as I was putting my sweater on, a person approached me, and, well, actually, like a car, a black BMW pulled up, because I was faced out, pulled up approximately like 2 spots up the garage for me. And I was standing getting my sweater on, and somebody came and tapped me and was like, hey, I need to talk to you. And I looked over my shoulder, and it was a person I had never seen before, and it was Mr. Giannis. And I replied to him like, excuse me, I do not know you. You know, what do you need to talk to me about? And he more aggressively than said, I need to talk to you right now. He might have cursed, but I don't really feel the need to use that language. And then as he did that, he kind of twirled me so that my back was to him and grabbed me with his left arm around my throat. And my friend in the car thought that he knew me and that he was just kind of like messing with me like, hey, yo, what's up, how you doing? But it actually turned out that he was trying to choke me out unconscious. And once he figured out that, oh, this guy's not messing with him, he's actually choking him, then my friend got out of the car. And at that time, I was trying to like get breath back into my lungs. Mr. Giannis yells at my friend, yo, this is a jack. I'm gonna kill this fool if you come near me. And he reaches into his waistline. And I was just kind of like, oh my God, is he really gonna shoot me? So I kind of reached back to where his hand was because he was still choking me. And I reached back and there wasn't anything there. And so I looked directly at my friend and I said, hey, he doesn't have a gun. And then he pulled his hand out of his waistline and put it to my head like this. And I was just thinking to myself like, what? And then I went to spin out because he was still choking me. And as I went to spin out, he like grabbed my sweater, and then the sweater got ripped off, and this is the sweater I was wearing. It's like all ripped. And as it ripped off, he grabbed me by 2 hands by my hair, which obviously isn't that hard to grab, and started to proceed to drag me towards the black BMW. And my friend that got out of the car grabbed my sweater.
Fine. All right, let's move on, please. I got it. I got your picture. What I don't understand, Mr. Pexy, is the following, sir. After this interchange happened between the two of you, irrespective of who I believe, there came a time when you were free and Mr. Giannis was in his car.
Yeah, it was...
Was in his car. And according to you, this brute, who may or may not have had a gun, who assaulted you without provocation, was leaving. Now I want you to tell me, because I read your answer with some interest, what you did next.
After I yanked my head out of his hands.
Oh, your head's out of his hands, he's in his car, and he's moving away.
And like he said, it was in a parking structure, so he had to go down, make a left, and then another left, and come back by my car. And I ran and grabbed a crowbar from my car, and I was going to get his license plate number.
Okay, now that's what I want. That's what I want. So you ran to your car and got a crowbar.
Yes, ma'am.
In what hand were you holding it?
The right one.
And what were you doing with your left hand?
Running.
And you were doing this in order to get his license plate number?
Because he was...
Shh. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what you say in your answer. Now, in what hand were you holding the pencil?
My cell phone, actually.
What hand were you holding the pencil in?
I didn't have a pencil.
And in what hand were you holding a piece of paper in?
I have a, type.
See what you're doing with this? See? So what I want to know is, Mr. Pexy, how were you going to get his license plate number with a crowbar?
Well, that
running,
was actually just
running
to protect
with a crowbar.
myself. I actually ran just over to the alley and stopped running. And then as he proceeded to come towards me, and the car swerved at me and ran over my...
How were you going to get
And
his
then-
license plate number, sir, which was your intention?
After he ran my foot over, I wrote his license plate down in my phone.
You have the phone with you?
Yeah. I don't
Show
have
me
the
his
number
license
in.
plate number in
But
your phone.
I don't have it in here, but I could show you, things to write.
No. I want you to show me his license plate number that you wrote down in your phone.
I don't have it, actually.
Now, moving on from your taking the crowbar and smashing his car,
Yes, ma'am.
you did not, in fact, go to the hospital that day for your foot, did you?
No, the EMTs came.
My question is,
Oh,
you
no, I
did not
didn't.
go to the hospital about your run-over foot,
Like in an ambulance?
like in an anything,
Oh, no.
like in a car,
Yeah.
anything. You didn't go to the hospital.
No, ma'am.
And he's driving a BMW,
Yeah.
pretty heavy car, to run over your foot.
Yeah, I've got strong bones.
Okay. Now, after he rode over your foot, I want you to tell me what you did to his car.
Well, I just hit it that one time as he ran over my foot, and then I went to fill out police reports and stuff.
Yeah, and so it's your statement that you never went back to his car with the crowbar that you retrieved.
Oh, I didn't. No.
No. And you don't know who did.
No.
Can I see your bill for fixing up your car?
You think I could do that to a car?
It's on there also.
Oh,
There's a
fine,
little
thank
tab
you.
on there.
Not only do I think you could, I know you did.
I weigh like 135
Because,
pounds.
sir, that's why you used a crowbar. If you were a little taller and a little heavier, you could have used your body, could have kicked it. But instead, you got a crowbar to take down his license plate number. All right. What year BMW is this?
It's a
sir?
94.
It's a 1994. It's 13 years old. It's not worth $4,700.
That's the damages from what the insurance gave me because the car was considered a total loss, so they wouldn't pay anything for the car. I have to actually fix it myself.
Okay, so you fixed the car.
Yeah, basically.
You fixed the car.
To be
How much
able
did
to
it cost
drive.
you to fix the car, sir?
All I fixed was the windows so far.
And how much did it cost you to fix the windows?
It was about $1,100. I don't have a receipt on me for that one.
Okay. Mr. Yanis, I'm giving you $2,500 to cover the expenses that you incurred in putting in new windows and seeing the best you can do with regard to taking out the dents in the car, which I did see. Mr. Pexy,
Yes, ma'am.
you tell a very, very good story. Not a persuasive story,
Well, I have a police
but
report.
but a very good story. You have a police report made by
ma'am.
whom?
West Hollywood Sheriff's Department.
Based on what?
This person that's actually suing me was convicted of a battery, non-desirous of persons, private persons, arrest myself.
They didn't tell me anything about that.
If you'd like to see it, you could check it out.
You mean he was convicted of battery
Yes,
on
ma'am.
you?
Yeah. Oh.
Sir, it may be. You're not suing him for battery.
Oh, I know, but why would I?
You're not suing him for battery.
Why would I
He's
go
suing
after
you
him?
for vandalizing his car.
But why would I go after him if I could have had him arrested for battery? I was kidnapped almost, and
Oh,
You're going to pay to fix his vandalized car, sir, which there is no question in my mind that you did. There is also no question in my mind that you precipitated this argument in the parking lot that day, not him. Because if you think that I believe this cockamamie story that you told me about getting to the club at 1:15 to have a hamburger while your three friends watched you after dressing for 2.5 hours to go out for an evening, I don't. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Parties are excused and they step out.
Nathan Heater says ex-girlfriend Rebecca Titus had him falsely arrested for physically abusing her. Rebecca claims he kicked her in the stomach during her pregnancy.
Mr. Heater, the defendant used to be your girlfriend.
Yes,
And according to your complaint, she had you falsely arrested for domestic violence.
correct.
Ms. Titus says that she did call the police. She had you arrested for domestic violence, and that's because you hit her. Correct?
Yes.
This incident happened on what date?
July 28th.
Now, Ms. Titus, I am correct that at one point in your relationship, you found yourself pregnant. And you told Mr. Heater that he was the father of this baby and that you miscarried. Is that what happened? But it turned out that he was not the father of this child.
It could have not been his.
Right. And then you renewed your relationship again briefly. But that's all it takes, Mr. Heater. A brief moment of stupidity, and Miss Titus told you she was pregnant again. And according to you, you said, listen, I didn't know about last time, I don't know about this time. I don't want to have anything to do with this baby until I take a paternity test.
Actually, what I told her was that I would help her out as long as I would be repaid if the baby was not mine.
You didn't discuss that with me first. I would have told you that that was a very bad idea. However, on the evening of the 28th of July, according to you, and according to Miss Titus, she called you and wanted to come over to talk.
Actually, he called me.
Yes.
What did you call her for?
I thought that she had a doctor's appointment regarding the baby the previous day, and I just called to see how it went.
And what did Miss Titus tell you?
She said that I was wrong about the date, that I believe it was the next day, and that she would like to come over and speak to me. And I said, I don't think that's a good idea. We speak face-to-face, that we should speak over the phone. And she said that she didn't want to speak over the phone.
So Mr. Heater told you not to come over.
Well,
you
no.
acknowledge that. He said he didn't want to talk to you in person.
He said that he didn't want to talk to me, but eventually said that it was okay for me to come over.
Did you tell her it was okay to
No,
come
I
over?
did not.
No, I don't believe that. It's not what you say in your answer, and I don't believe that. He said he didn't want to talk to you in person. He thought you should discuss whatever you had to discuss over the phone. But you went over there anyway. What time did you go over there?
About 12:30 in the afternoon.
What did you want to discuss with him?
I wanted to talk to him about the baby and about how things were going between us. We were, before this, we were going out and doing things together and, like...
Don't you people know anything about birth control?
Yes, they don't work for me.
They don't work for you?
Yes. My body rejects them.
There are all kinds of birth control, Ms. Titus.
Yes, ma'am.
The answer to having a problem with one form of birth control is not to have babies with people who don't want to have children with you, like Mr. Heater or anybody else. So you went over there about 12:30.
I knocked at the door, and he told me to come in, and I upset him. And
how did you upset him?
I don't remember exactly what I said.
Maybe you
to
do.
him.
If you don't remember, maybe he does. What happened, Mr.
I
Heater?
was upset before she came into the house because I told her not to.
Come over.
And she started screaming through my door at me.
What was she saying?
You have to live up to your responsibilities. You can't create a situation and then not take care of it.
That doesn't sound welcoming, Miss Titus.
That never happened at all.
Go ahead.
So, to save myself from embarrassment from my neighbors, and I did open the door for her to try to...
So you let her in?
Yeah.
And what happened when she came inside?
It just continued on the same thing in there. You have to take care of this. And, you know, I was trying to tell her I'm doing the best I can with this. I don't really know how to deal with this situation. Everything's so bad. I don't know what to do except for what I am doing, and that wasn't good enough for her. And for 30 or 45 minutes, she followed me around my house with me telling her to leave over and over and over again. She would not leave my house. And eventually I was in the kitchen sorting my dishes, and she came in and was pointing her finger at me, yelling at me in there, telling me the same thing, that I had to deal with my responsibilities. At that point, I took her by the hand that she was pointing at me with and just turned her around facing the kitchen door. And I had hold of her elbows with my body pressed against her back and was just walking her towards the door. I was like, you need to leave now. And she grabbed onto the kitchen doorway and started pressing back against me. And when I finally backed off of her and she let go of the door, she turned around and grabbed my hand like this. And then she smacked me in the face and said I had no right to touch her. And as a reaction, my hand came back around, too.
So you hit her?
Yeah, regrettably, I did come back around. She went off towards what I thought was the front door, but as I was in the kitchen, I heard her dialing my phone. She told me then that she called the police.
Do you have a copy of the police report?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please. Who is this gentleman, Mr. Heater?
This is my friend, Jason Hubbard.
Was he a witness to what happened on the 28th of July?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Titus, tell me what happened, your version of what happened when you got into the house.
When I came into the house, we sat down on the couch and started to talk. At first, things were okay. Then I started talking about the baby and about this new girl that he's dating and how that her not liking me around is the real reason why he's not wanting to have anything to do with the baby. Then he got upset and told me to leave, and I told him no, he can't just end the conversation anytime he wants
yes, he can.
to.
He can tell you to leave his house. Go ahead.
I followed him around the house and was still talking to him, and we ended up in the kitchen, and I had said something about this girl he's dating, his girlfriend, and he doesn't like me to refer to her as that, so that made him really upset. And he came and he grabbed me by my arms and started to escort me through the door, and I stopped myself, told him he didn't have any right to put his hands on me at all.
Yes, you did.
Not according to...
Oh, yes, you did. Once he tells you that he wants you to leave his house and you remain there, you're trespassing. That's a crime. Next.
Well, according to...
Don't tell me according to anybody. You tell according to a police officer. I've had 10 years of postgraduate legal education. When you're in somebody's house and you're an invited guest, first of all, you weren't an invited guest
But
in
I
this
was
house. I'm
invited.
speaking. You weren't an invited guest. You were told not to come. You came anyway. He tried to avoid you and said, please leave. Once he told you to leave his house and you refused, you become a trespasser.
Well, another reason
Now-
I didn't leave is because in previous arguments that we've had, he's asked me to leave, and then 10 minutes later he'll call me and tell me come back over.
Well, you just have to guess his mood then. Right now he told you to leave, and you didn't leave. So he put his hand, escort you out. And what did you do?
I was pushing back against him, like you said, and I turned around, and he still had a hold of me when I smacked him in his face.
Right, so you smacked him in his face first.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he slapped you.
Twice.
Twice. You slapped him the first time, he slapped you twice. It's amazing to me that the police arrested you, sir. Absolutely amazing. Tried to get you out of the house. He's holding on to your arms. You're resisting him. Ultimately, you turn around. He's still pushing you, correct? And you slapped him. He slapped you then twice. Where did he slap you? In the face?
In the face.
And then he let go of you when you called the police. And you are there because you are pregnant.
Yes.
And you're concerned about the welfare of your baby.
Yes.
And that is the primary thing that you're concerned about, the welfare of your baby.
Yes.
So let me tell you what you told the police. Titus said that the defendant grabbed her by the arms and began to drag her out of his house, physically trying to remove her from the residence. She advised that she is pregnant with his child and that he pushed on her stomach. Was that meant to get the police really angry at him? Pregnant, he pushed on your stomach? You're full of baloney. And you had no right to have him arrested. And I'm amazed that they arrested him. He has a right to escort you out of his house if you refuse to leave. You hit him first. Did you hire a lawyer?
No, I had a public defender.
One of the things that I have to comment on is you're not too swift. If you're dating this girl and she tells you she's pregnant and it turns out it could have been you or somebody else, I wouldn't have had a wind through my head and then had intimate relations with her again, unprotected. Do we understand each other?
Completely.
Ms. Titus, you have to learn that domestic violence is a very serious crime. Just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you have a right to hit somebody and not expect to be hit back. And you have no right to lie to the police, because it was a lie what you told the police that he pushed you in your stomach while you were pregnant. That's not what he did at all, because that's not what you told me happened. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
26-year-old Ebony Dean is suing the mother of her late husband's son, Taishra White, for the cost of her stepson's orthodontist bills.
Miss Dean, you were married to the defendant's former boyfriend.
Yes, ma'am.
And your husband passed away recently. They had a child together.
Yes, ma'am.
The child was primarily living with you and your husband at the time of his death. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And at the time, he was about 13?
Yes, ma'am.
How old is he now?
13.
13. This is your lawsuit. While he was living with you and your husband, you got braces for him.
Yes, ma'am.
Because he needed them.
Yes, ma'am.
And you took out a loan.
Yes, ma'am.
In order to do that. Your husband is no longer here. You want his mother to take over the responsibility of the rest of the loan.
Yes, ma'am.
And to that, his mother says she is not responsible for the loan because she never signed the loan papers.
Correct.
Okay. Can I see any paperwork that you have from the dentist?
Yes. This is the recommendation to get the minor braces due to he had a
Just a second. Let me read. I can read it. So this was the referral that was done in May 21st, 2007.
Yes, ma'am.
And at that time, was he in fact living with you, or was
Yes,
he
full
was
custody.
living with you and your husband?
Yes.
Okay. How much was the total bill?
The total bill was $3,000 some odd dollars, Your Honor.
Yes.
If I could say something, please?
Yes.
About the recommendation and the dentist bills and all the records, I have never seen any of that.
Doesn't make any difference.
And about the...
You paid. I read your answer. You paid, according to you, what you thought you could pay, which was $800.
To keep the peace, Your
Just a
Honor.
sec. I don't care whether it was to keep the peace or not. It has really nothing to do with the loan, Miss White. It has nothing... Listen, I want you to listen to me very carefully. It has nothing to do with the loan. It has to do with your responsibility as a parent to give your child whatever necessaries your child needs.
Your Honor, I understand that completely.
No, you don't. I don't think you do at all.
Your Honor.
Just listen to me. Who are you?
I'm her husband.
It has nothing to do with you. Judge, listen to me. Has nothing to do with you. This is not your child.
Yes, it is.
Has nothing. No. It has nothing
He is
to
my
do.
child.
No.
He stays with me in my house.
I
That's
don't
my
care whether
child.
he
I've been
stays with
raising him
you.
since he was-
Listen to me. It has nothing to do with you because you have, at this point, no financial responsibility with regard to the child's dental care.
I do too. He's in my house. I'm married
Okay,
to
listen,
her.
this is not a discussion that you and I are having. We don't have discussions. I'm telling you what the law is. You have no financial responsibility for the child's braces. You don't. His mother and his father have a responsibility to ensure that the child gets whatever necessaries the child needs. Now, as far as the plaintiff is concerned, I'm telling you what the law is. This has nothing to do with her obligation under the loan. She is suing you because the child who required braces, because I must assume, and if you don't think that's true, you can sue the dentist for malpractice. The child that I must assume needed braces as a necessary, just like food, clothing, shelter, medical care, that's a necessary. Put him out, please.
I just had a question. Mama.
I don't answer your questions.
Medi-Cal pays for them. He is on medical.
You're not paying attention.
Sir. Yes,
You want to talk instead of listen. Just as your husband has no financial obligation to this child, absent a showing that the state is paying any money for the child, neither does the plaintiff when she was his stepmother.
Okay.
She took on that responsibility because I assumed that the child's father couldn't get a loan in his name. She assumed that responsibility while she was married to your former boyfriend. She was the child's stepmother.
Okay.
She is no longer the child's stepmother. A situation that came very close to home because I understand that you don't think that she should have any visits with him.
No, that's not true.
In any event, you are responsible, Miss White, for necessaries for your child.
Yana, can I say something? I haven't
Yes,
been
now
able to
you can say
anything.
something.
Okay, Malik had Medi-Cal at the time. Now, when you have Medi-Cal, there's certain points that you have to, come up to with your mouth for them to say that they can have them. Well, Medi-Cal denied him because he didn't have enough points. So
Right.
Medi-Cal said that, he didn't need them.
Let me ask you this question, madam. You think you're a good mother?
Yes, I'm a very good mother.
Well, then I want you to think about this. Because he didn't have bad enough teeth to qualify for free braces, do you think that that means that the child didn't benefit from having braces? That requires a yes or a no.
No, but I mean, could you let me talk a little
No,
bit?
I want you to. You think that these people put braces on your child
No,
because
that's-
he didn't need them?
That's not what I'm
You
saying, Your Honor.
Then I want you to tell me what you're saying. Do you think
Okay.
that his father and his stepmother obligated themselves financially because they paid for a substantial part of this loan
I wasn't
back?
involved
I'm
in-
speaking. Because they wanted to torture him?
No, Your Honor.
Do you think that they put on the braces because a doctor, a private doctor, said that your son could benefit from having braces?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Your Honor,
And
please let me say something,
just-
please. I'm begging you.
Go ahead.
The thing is that I wasn't involved in the process at all. When they told me about the loan and everything, they had already did everything.
Fine.
They didn't
It has
even,
nothing
I
to
could
do
have
with
went
the
and got a
loan.
second
Excuse me, Your Honor,
opinion.
Put your hand down. No.
I could have went and got a second opinion. We could have went somewhere else to try to get something that we both can afford. I have 3 other children. I wasn't involved in anything. It was all about a control issue. Oh, we're doing this, here, you pay this. Involve me in something.
Listen
and
to
then she
me
wants
carefully.
me to pay all of it.
Listen to me carefully. She wouldn't have come here if the child's father was still alive.
No, she wouldn't.
No,
have.
just listen to me. She wouldn't have come here if your child's father was still alive. If she came here, I would have said, listen, he's a parent, just like she is. You obligated yourself to pay for this. Child's father, he pays for it. But she has no responsibility to pay for the necessaries for your child.
She's been paying half all this time.
It has nothing to do with the loan. You're not understanding me. Your head is fixed in the loan. It has nothing to do with the loan.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it through to you. You don't understand. These braces are necessaries, just like you give your child breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay.
And as the parent that's left, you are responsible in the law for all the necessaries of this child. All of them. She's not responsible anymore for anything with regard to this child. You are responsible for everything, having nothing to do with the loan. The only reason she had the loan is because of her husband. You are responsible for your child's medical and dental care. And there's an outstanding balance now of $1,127. That's your responsibility. And if
All
your
of it?
husband, all of it, all of it.
So she didn't assume responsibility in paying half of it?
She's not her, no, it's not her child. It's your child. It's your
So
child.
she can go out and get a car, and he totaled it, and, oh, here, you pay it because this is your child, without consulting me at all.
No, a car is not a necessary. Put your hand down. A car is not a necessary. If your child, however, needed an emergency appendectomy, and they took the child to the hospital, and there was a $20,000 medical bill, and the child's father died, you would be responsible for the entire $20,000 medical bill because you are his mother, and you are the only surviving parent. And whether they consulted you and you could have gotten the appendectomy cheaper or not, it doesn't make any difference. It's your responsibility. You are his mother, not hers. So it would have been his father's if he was alive, but he's gone.
Wow.
That's the law. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,127. Thank you, Your Honor.
John White says co-worker Toriano Harris owes for injuring his eye. John says Toriano ripped his cornea when he tackled him at a party.
According to your complaint, sir, you were at a New Year's Eve party.
Yes.
Mr. Harris was at the same New Year's Eve party, and you claimed that he was pretty drunk, and while not intentionally, while horsing around, he seriously injured your eye.
True.
Mr. Harris says everybody was sort of fooling around and butting each other. He didn't injure you. You were just fine. And he questions whether or not he exacerbated this pre-existing eye injury that you had.
Right.
What time did you get to the party?
Probably around 12:30.
Who did you go with?
Kathy.
Where had you been before?
At another party.
Who was driving?
I was.
Were you drinking?
Yeah.
How come you were drinking and driving?
And got caught up in the celebrations.
Was she drinking?
No.
Why didn't you let her drive?
Wasn't thinking at the time.
How much had you been drinking?
Couple cups of champagne, maybe.
Whose party was this that you arrived at 12:30?
Another co-worker's, another friend.
What time did you arrive at the party?
It was a little before 12, about 11:30.
Where had you been previous to 11:30?
I live across the street, so I walked across the street to the party.
So you hadn't had any alcohol before 11:30?
Nope. Ma'am.
And what were you drinking between 11:30 and 12:30?
Had about 2 beers.
Who did you come to the party with?
By myself.
Were you by yourself the beginning part of the evening?
Yes, I was.
That sounds pretty lonely on a New Year's Eve, Mr. Harris.
Well, I had just got off work, and then I went home and found out it was a party across the street, and it was somebody who I work with. So I was invited, so I walked across the street.
Okay, so now that we've laid the foundation of this evening, you were there by yourself, you had a date, you arrived at 12:30, you arrived at 11:30, you were sober as a judge.
Yes, ma'am.
Before 11:30, after that, you had a couple of beers.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what happened at 12:30 when you arrived, Mr. White.
I came in the house, I mingled a little bit, had some more drinks. Probably 45 minutes to an hour after that time of mingling. Mr. Harris here was just a little bit out of control. He was obviously way drunker than he said he was. He was so out of control that me and some of the other guests removed ourselves from the living room of the party to like the front porch, patio type area, holding the door, keeping him from coming in. He eventually got up there on the patio where he continued his behaviors.
Describe his behavior to me, please.
Out of control is the only word I can use. He jumping around, spitting liquor at us, loud, screaming. He got down into like a football stance and just rushed me.
Describe that to me. Show me. What's a football stance?
Out here?
Yeah.
A football stance.
Okay, that kind of, okay. All right.
Brushed my legs, grabbed me by the legs, and I don't know if he was trying to put me in a wrestling move or just whatever, but as I was going down, his head hit my eye, causing the stitches that I had from a previous surgery to bust. And
What kind of surgery had you had on your eye?
I had a cornea transplant.
When?
September 20th.
You have the medical records for me?
Yes.
I'd like to see them, please. That's the injury that you're talking about, being bumped in the head by him and the
Yes.
stitches coming apart.
As
Did you go to the emergency room that day?
Yes, I did.
Who took you?
My friend here, Kathy. I actually went home to, went back to
Kathy,
the
you have a
hospital.
last name.
Smith.
You took him to the emergency room?
Yes.
Immediately after being bumped in the head, did you leave the party?
Well, after I got hit in the eye, like I say, he took me to the ground. I think that was the initial impact. And once I was on the ground, he went for probably a headlock and came across my eye again, taking me back to the ground as I was getting up. And at that point, it was when I crawled to the bathroom, tried to wipe the little blood that I did have, and then I left the party.
How many surgeries did you have subsequent to this incident?
3.
Were you scheduled to have any other surgeries after
No.
the initial corneal transplant?
Right. I was doing.
You were doing
it was in
fine.
the period of my recovery process.
Okay, Mr. Harris, I'm going to hear you, sir.
We was at the party. We had a couple drinks. I had a couple drinks. I knew he was already there, and he was already drinking, because I can already tell the way he was talking.
You arrived first.
No, he arrived first.
No, you arrived first. You said you arrived at 11:30. They didn't arrive until 12:30.
No, he was there first before me.
Okay, keep going.
I already knew that he had been drinking because the way the slur of his speech he was talking. As the struck clock to 12, we all just was having fun. It was party, horse playing, high five. We bumped chests. Then all of a sudden, a buddy of mine had picked me up. I'm looking around like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So then all of a sudden, he grabbed me. So when he grabbed me, I broke him off of me. And then he fell to the ground, I guess injuring his eye then. He was the aggressor. I wasn't the aggressor. He put his hands on me first.
Did you see what happened?
No, he did. I was in the other room. I'm the one that just witnessed.
Tell me your name, sir.
My name is Brian Dukes.
Do you know both of these gentlemen?
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you known them?
About 3 years.
Both?
Yes.
Both nice people?
Yes, yes.
Okay. What time did you arrive at the party that night?
It was after midnight.
Were you out on the porch when this incident
Yes,
occurred?
ma'am.
Tell me what you saw, please.
I'm pretty much a witness to his pretty much out of control behaviors, Mr. Harris. He pretty, like Mr. White here said, he did get down, crouch down in the football stands, and did attack Mr. White here.
Just describe to me what you saw. He got down in a football stance.
Football stands. Then he just rushed him, just grabbed his legs and took him down to the ground.
Did you assist him in cleaning up his eye?
No, ma'am.
You were just a guest at the party?
Yes.
Did you come with an escort?
No, ma'am.
Were you the only one with a date that night?
No. No.
Okay. I read your complaint that you had a video.
Yes.
Somebody was taking pictures of that
The
evening.
homeowner of the party actually was recording the whole incident.
I'd like to see it, please. Mr. Dukes, you can have a seat, sir.
Thank you.
This is the point here. This was like I said, well past 12:30. He's actually finna start spitting liquor at us. You can't hear it, but he's screaming, yelling, profanity, whatnot. This in the background. This the patio. Now this the patio area here where we at. That's the homeowner's friend, telling him that he needs to go, but he's not hearing anything. That's the charge. Right there, you can see me holding my eye as I'm going back. Then he jumps on me again. I'm trying to get up now. I brought back down. At this point here, this is where I told him, I didn't use these words, but you just messed my eye up. And he was like, all right, get up, I got you. I'm crawling off into the bathroom now. As he comes back out, he attempted to do this again, but he was stopped. This was a separate person here, separate incident. And so that's the homeowner there. At this point, she was just really fed up with him. That's him hitting the door, banging on her front door, glass door.
What you're supposed to say, Mr. Harris, is, I drank too much, I was an idiot. I'm sorry I hurt you, and I'm going to pay your bills. You're not supposed to make excuses, sir. Have you seen this video before?
No.
You've never seen it before?
Never seen it
Why
before.
didn't you show him this video before? Maybe he would understand the nature of his actions.
In this process, I've reached out to him twice, not asking him to pay the bills, just to help me. Like I said, we have been friends for some time. I knew that he didn't just have his money in his pocket. But if he would have just assisted, no, I don't. But if he had just assisted with the help, we probably wouldn't be here.
I'm waiting.
If he knew that his eye was messed up, why would he come to a party and have fun anyway? I mean, but you know, sometimes when you're at a party, everybody get, you know, everybody horseplay. At least they do where I'm from.
You want to take this one, or what do you want me to do?
I don't know. There are good questions and there are bad questions. That's a bad question.
You know that if you have some delicate surgery, the chances of that surgery becoming infected, inflamed, that can become dislodged, that happens. Is what you're suggesting, sir, that if you have this kind of surgery, you stay in your room? You work at a place where I assume sometimes it gets physical.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yes.
That's his job. So he has to go to work. And you take care as best as you can to make sure that the people that you're working with don't hurt you, don't exacerbate a condition that already exists. When you go to a New Year's Eve party, you expect to have a little bit of alcohol, sometimes, and sometimes you even expect people to act stupid. You don't expect them to act very stupid. And when you act very stupid, Mr. Harris, and you hurt somebody, you have to be responsible and pay for it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me ask you this question, sir. You live across the street from this party.
Yes, ma'am.
You were pretty drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me give you this scenario. You're walking back to your house, and you're pretty drunk, and you're not looking where you were going. And a car is coming down the street. They're perfectly fine. Nobody's drinking in that car. They're driving. But you dart out into the middle of the street, and that car swerves to avoid you. And the people in that car are seriously injured because they hit a tree. Are you going to tell me that you think on New Year's Eve people shouldn't drive their cars because drunks sometimes walk in the middle of the road? That's the same kind of philosophy that you're trying to sell me when you say, listen, when you go to a New Year's Eve party, everybody gets drunk and they horse around. You can horse around without being an idiot. Would you like to show your boss that video?
I don't want to show nobody that video.
Well, you should have thought of that before you came here, Mr. Harris. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.